Alright. Yeah. So it shouldn't be black. Should be fine. Alright, so. What I want to do today is design some puzzles. Sorry that you saw an ad. I unfortunately cannot stop the ads. Okay. So. Okay. So I need to design some more puzzles with this mechanic. This dot mechanic is what I need to do. Spoilers. I feel like I should, like, do that. Oh, if you're not using the HTML5 player on Twitch, you should really do that. It's a lot better than the other one. So, I probably need to go back through these puzzles and figure out what is even going on with these. Those are some introductory ones. Yeah, I'll just do that. Let me just reset the game, and that'll be easier than resetting all of those puzzles by hand. Actually, don't know that the starting setup for all of them is right either. I gotta do something about this camera. Like, this camera is really bad. I'm just gonna revert to the old camera follow system because this new one is, like, really annoying. Okay, so I just have a boolean to change that. Okay, I feel like I should have, like, a thing on the actual stream that's like spoilers, but I guess that's pretty obvious. So the way these guys work is these dots, like, want to be connected to another dot, but not more than that, right? So so these are kind of the introductory puzzles there, and then you have, like, this one where it's pretty obvious that you can't connect it by lighting up tiles, and so you have to connect it by low lighting. I might make that more obvious, like even simpler, but these let me make this a little bigger if I can. Yeah, I'll just do this, I guess. So if I, like, these tiles here that have this broken edge are just locked in position, so, like, if it's on, you can't switch it to off, it has to be on. I could do this with having you switch that one, but I felt like it was too confusing, and some, like, preliminary testing kind of, oh, let me adjust this camera, it's like a little bit too high up, maybe still too high up. I can't make it any lower. Like, my preliminary testing was that was, like, too open-ended. It was too hard to tell, like, what was going on. Whereas if I do, like, a series of puzzles where they're all locked like that, and then I tell you, oh, by the way, they can also be off, it doesn't matter, and then move to some other things, then it kind of works better. Well, there's nothing wrong with this camera except that I have, like, there's a problem with having a camera that always moves, in that, like, if I'm trying to solve a puzzle, it's annoying because I have to keep moving the cursor, and I need to add something where basically the camera just kind of stops moving if you hover over one of these, or at least moves slower than if you're not. But I haven't done that yet, and I also was trying to make it to where the camera only would, like, update your position if you got, like, if you could walk in a certain radius here, and then if you walked outside of it, the camera would start to follow you. But it doesn't work the way I would want it to, because you kind of want you to walk over here and then push the camera over, right? And I stay in that position relatively, but instead it's set up to where I walk over, and then like as soon as I cross a threshold, it tries to reset the center of the camera to the player, so it would try to like move the camera to the player. So you get this weird thing where the camera's like in a bad spot, and I can't get it to a spot where I want it to, because it does this really weird like quantized movement or something. Hey, so you guessed the mechanic right. There are two different kinds of panels in the game. There are panels that you walk on, which are not these, and there are these panels that you walk on. Like, these are ones that you walk on, and then you solve that way. These are ones that you click on. There's no real way for me to not have it use a cursor like this. I guess explaining why would be spoilers and maybe not necessary, but you can probably see it in some of the other streams. I'll just say that some of the panels need to be in places that you can't walk. But for prototyping purposes, I just stuck the panels here, and you know, if I don't put a wall around them, you can walk on them. Actually, you can technically still interact with them by walking on them like this, but I don't know. This is just my best solution for now. I think the version that you played had walkable ones, and then you would go into an abstract cursor interface where you would move a cursor around with the arrow keys on the panel, which I didn't like because it was modal, and so you had to go in and out of this mode to interact with the panels, and sometimes you're like, because you're using like the arrow keys to walk around and then also the arrow keys to move the cursor around, you'd be like, alright, I solved the panel, and then you'd want to go walk, and it wouldn't do anything because you were still in like interact mode with the panel. So I don't know. This is kind of the best that I can come up with. Anyway, so yeah. So I need to come up with some more puzzles. Those are all pretty basic. That's just like a simpler variation of this one, I guess. I don't know why that's starting though as solved. It's weird. I'll have to figure out why that's doing that. So these are supposed to be the trickier ones. Like that one's pretty... It's not totally inobvious, but it's somewhat inobvious because you might do that. And then this one's really only difficult because it's just easier to think of the white as an area than the other is not as an area, so it's really just the inverse of that. Probably one of these is actually going to be tricky to me. That one's not, though. I feel like I had some other solution in mind for that. I feel like I wanted it to be like something different, but I don't know what. No, that's probably it. That's really the only possible thing. The mouse controls don't really mean sacrifices in level design. The issue was like the walking around if I made it to where every panel you had to walk around on it, then I had to sacrifice things in level design, because it's like I can't put a panel on a wall. They always have to be on the floor. And so, I mean, it's not, I still haven't ruled it out as a possibility, but this seemed worth trying, and it feels good to interact with, so I don't see a big deal with it. This one, yeah, this is like, I think, my favorite here too, because it's like pretty tricky. Because you naturally, like, if we cut this one out and say I had this one and this one, like, this one kind of trains you to think about it by combining that and that, and here it's like, well, I can't do that, and I can't combine that because that's not in the middle, so what can I do? And you're like, okay, and I can't combine those because then those are separated. So this is maybe one of the better puzzles that I've come up with for this so far. And it's not really that complicated. I just have to separate them that way into like 3 areas. It's just interesting because you're used to combining them horizontally there, or combining them like the other way, right? I think you can do it that way too, yeah. Any way that you just separate them with that is what it is. Because again, it's like weird to think of like not filling one in. Let's see, this one works like this, which is pretty simple, and then this one's the one that's supposed to be a little harder, which is actually not that hard. Because I think I solved it, this one, that way. The problem is I need to force this one to where you do it. Well, I guess these must have just both been variations on that then. Wow. That's like an interesting, weird solution there. So that leads me to think that that's the first thing I should do, is I should make like a variant of that that's low light, low light, low light, low light. Like I force all those to be low. Oh, spoilers. Can't see all that. Are these the right panels? Yeah, they are. Okay, so let's make that. Let's see, what is this? Could the other cursor move? No, the other cursor couldn't move all over the screen. You could see puzzles that you couldn't solve. Now I'm going to have to just basically, if I don't want you to do a puzzle, it's going to have to like be off or something, kind of like a witness panel is just shut off, so there's just no squares on it. So you wouldn't be able to interact with it. Hard to see a difference between the tiles. You mean the edges, like this edge here? Is that what you're saying? The easiest thing for me to do to fix that would be to change the background color. So I can just make that arbitrarily darker. Is that better? So like I said, I can just change that to be whatever. I can do white, except then you wouldn't be able to see the white ones. Because it's just a flat background color that I'm testing it against. So. Oh, the solid and the dashed. That could just be an issue of the stream, that it's hard to tell. Because I don't think it's that hard to tell. Plus, you're not necessarily going to be playing it that small, but like if I make it a little bigger, I think it's pretty easy to see. Anywho, but yeah, so I'll change that background color anyway, just because why not? Makes it a little easier to see. Okay, that's what I figured. Like, the zoom is not necessarily gonna be far out. Like, it might be pretty zoomed in. And obviously all of the look of the panels and everything is subject to change, so... so this guy needs to basically just be like this, locked. Because then I can't do that, so I have to do... Oh, I guess that works too. Interesting. Interesting. Of course it does, because they're not connected there. I feel like that's probably the most interesting thing, is the separating them that way. Like, that's the most surprising thing to me. Could actually put 2 more dots up there if I wanted. I think. Oh no, those are not combined with anything now is the problem. I could do it. I wonder if that is doable. I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't think it is. So I can't put 2 more up there. But I can separate those. I can make the middle one with the top 2 broken. You mean like this one? Like do that? I'm not sure what you mean by middle one. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I thought you meant. Okay, so that would be just like that? That's what you mean? So let me try what you're saying exactly, which I think is to where's that? To break those like that to where they have to be black. Well, they are black already, right? In the solution that I was doing, right? I thought. Yeah. Because then that's just like that, right? It's interesting that I don't have to separate that, though. I guess these weren't locked either, were they? You meant... thought you meant that, maybe. So, okay, I see what you're saying. You're saying because then I can't connect across the top. So then I have to do that. That feels so weird to do that. I feel like it would be better with this guy in the corner to do that, because then like that's like that rather than being straight down, and like it just feels weird. Yeah, it's, well, it's, you know, say top two. It's like, well, top two tiles, top two dots. But yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, it's always worth exploring like alternatives, right? My other concern always is like if I'm doing a sequence of puzzles like this, and I'm trying to do some variant on something, where I want you to see like the easy solution. Like obviously this one's got an easy solution, right? Like the easy solution here is that you got to go around the top, right? Instead of connecting them down here. Anyway, my point being is that I don't want you to be able to also do what you do here for that. Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm just exploring around, trying to see like I think this is kind of interesting here. Just, like, a lot of what I do when I'm designing puzzles is literally just that, of just, this is kind of interesting, I guess I'll save that as a puzzle and then duplicate it again and try some other variant on that and kind of explore out based on this was kind of interesting, so maybe I'll find something else interesting near that, you know. So what I immediately thought of was if I put that down there and that down there, is that doable? It is, but I don't know that it's difficult, other than there's this distraction up here, because I actually played into it not at all. Let me try like unlocking the tiles here and just see what weird things there are, because I feel like you should be able to connect to that and that. And then there's just nothing I can do, really, because I can't connect these, because then those will connect. But I can do that, obviously, and I can do this, obviously. Well, maybe I can't, because I can't connect around there. Remember when Twitch had no delay? I could turn on the thing, there's a like experimental low delay thing. I could turn it on. we could see what happens. Let me. I'm not sure if important information will be displayed if I do that. So I think there's some way I can turn that on. Where is that? I think I can turn it on from this page. Let's see what it does if I do it. That's not what I'm looking for. Here we go. Let's see what happens. I don't know if it will, if it'll work without me like restarting the stream though. But even if it doesn't, on the next stream we can look at it. Let's see. Let me put my screen back on. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out because I feel like there should be some way to do this. Maybe just like I always feel weird when I'm like forcing stuff. What'd be nice is if I had some buttons to like shift everything on the panel up, you know, because when I do something like that I keep the things there, but it always expands from the top, and I kind of expect it to expand from the top left, but it's actually expanding this way. So then I kind of have to do this, right? Which is a little annoying, but not the end of the world. But it would be nice to be able to shift everything in all this stuff. I could write that, but it's maybe beyond the scope of what needs done right now. But what I was thinking is, let's see, if I do like that, then I can connect those that way, right? Like that was kind of what I was thinking. But obviously I can do it other ways, so it's not really that. Is that literally the only way I can do that? No, I could do it that way. That way's much less interesting, so. So, I guess I need to set I'm always a bit wary when I like lock things in place a certain way, because if I'm not careful it can be too much of a hint. Oh, how long have I been going on this particular stream? It's about half an hour. Okay. Well, I'll stop it and then I'll restart it, and maybe it'll have less delay. We'll see what happens.